say go 110%, that's because you can really go 200%, 300%. You have natural governors built into you to suppress you from ever basically going too far and hurting yourself. The globalists take those natural governors and they dial them in to suppress us where we're basically not even alive anymore and are just these receivers that they can program. I want to be free. I want you to be free. I want justice, whether you're black or white, whether you're old or young. When I find out about secret experiments on white Appalachian children, it makes me want to throw up. When I learn about secret experiments on black children, it makes me want to throw up. Because those are human beings. And what's done to them is done to me. It's done to you. And it's time to find our fighting spirit and say no to the New World Order. It's time to take action. If we just sit here and give in to the New World Order and decide we don't have any power, it's like rolling over to wolves. I've seen the stories out of Canada and the U.S. now. Coyotes are starting to kill people. Coyotes never kill people. It's never been recorded. Unless somebody already fallen down, had a stroke, or died out in the middle of nowhere, then they'd eat you when you were dead. They wouldn't even get near a person. Now, they will eat women even in populated areas and parks because women will see them. They'll come up, growl, wanting the food they're having at lunch. This has happened 2 different cases the same way. And the woman, like a movie, will fall down and start crawling backwards from the coyote, which then signals, I'm prey, rip my throat out. And that's an allegory of the American people and the people of England, who have such amazing histories of having so much courage and being feared militaries all over the world. Now we are reduced down, I don't care what color you are, to when a mob of racist blacks or whites or whatever the case is attack, you fall on the ground and beg. That's why we're being overrun by the Federal Reserve and the offshore globalists. That's why the TSA is groping us at the airport, because everything is about training us. As top psychiatrists and psychologists have said, the TSA is training kids to be groped. That's how pedophiles train people to be touched. That's how they test to see if a kid is ready for that. I mean, this is some sick stuff. The TSA people don't even know that on average. They're compartmentalized. I say, you know, don't blame them, even though they hire some sickos who do know what they're doing. The average person is compartmentalized and really thinks they're looking for ISIS terrorists. You'll find the ISIS terrorists being armed, mainstream news is reporting today, AFP, by the United States and Saudi Arabia. They have made in USA M16s and TOW missiles. They have 15,000 heat-seeking MPADs and other variant surface-to-air missiles. Toll-free number to join us, 800-259-9231. And I didn't mean to go off earlier, but I forget who it was said, no brag, just fact. And I like to tell stories about things that are epic, that really happen, because truth is stranger than fiction. And there's just a lot of interesting things going on in this world. And I, for one, am completely real. And I'll tell you, at 40 years of age, I'm looking for one thing in this world: people that are real. I am so sick of the posers and the fakes and all the delusional losers out there that imagine how great they are and imagine how successful they are, and they want to then keep back everybody else that is legitimately trying to build a better world. I'm tired of delusion and illusion. I want the real deal. I don't want virtual reality. I want to jump into the real lake. I want to swim down to the bottom. I want to see what's there. I want to climb to the top of that mountain. I want to see that. I want to experience it all. I want to have grandchildren. I want to live to see my great-grandchildren. I want to live to see space colonies blasting off, and to have a world where it's based around empowering humans, and where it's based around building a world for humans, building a world where we have a place at the center of things, where we're fans of humanity. I've told you many times, the movie Devil's Advocate with Al Pacino and Keanu Reeves is excellent, but it has some big lies in it. And I told Keanu Reeves this once, and he agreed with me when we were discussing the film, that the devil in the film says, I'm a fan of man, I want to empower you, and God wants to suppress you. It's the opposite. God is a fan of man. We are creatures made in God's image. That's pretty heavy. So God can experience consciousness from our perspective. And I'm not saying we are God. I'm saying we are God's creation, but something separate with free will that God can then experience things through as a man, as he did in his son or in his human expression, Jesus Christ. And the churches and all the rest of them are there to suppress that information and to make sure you don't understand how big this is. Because just as they said Christ was David, wasn't actually literally David, he was Melchizedek. We are all a shadow, an expression of God's consciousness. Think about that. That's pretty heavy. We can do amazing things, and the New World Order knows that. We are creators, ladies and gentlemen. We're made in the image and the likeness of the omnipresent supreme entity that created this dimension and the dimensions. And if you really read the Bible, and if you really read other ancient texts as well, it's clear we live on a fabulous, wondrous, amazing planet, a very special planet. And this life is a very special test. So make sure your heart's right with God, ladies and gentlemen, so you can be recruited to the next level. That's where I want to be. I want to see on this plane, humans do well, expand, have our struggles, have our competitions, to grow at this level into what we're supposed to grow into at this level, but to also in the next life to that level. Because if you see life, there's all these different expressions, and I've not read this anywhere, but I know others must have said it because it's true. Universal truth is always discovered in others because it is true. Just as we are our ancestors and can even have their memories, and that's been proven now in the epigenetics, and their experiences and their archetypes, and just as we go on to create others who are a beautiful mix of those that we've loved, not just now, but in the past, it isn't reincarnation. That's why the ancients were confused by it and felt like they'd been here before. It's because you have been here before, but genetically you have been here before. And then this particular mix of genetics and the spirit that inhabits it, experiencing this level of the time-space continuum, then advances on to God to be able to experience that next level. Or you go where your heart leads you, to the dark side, to destruction, to the world of Hellraiser. I don't want to go there. I don't want to be part of that. What about you? Because let me tell you, folks, there's a lot of stuff going on we don't see and we don't know. And everybody in their gut knows it. Everybody deep down. That's why the atheists out there on average hate spiritualists so much of any type, because they're scared of the giant void. It's like a spacewalk is how I've likened it. You think it's scary to be up on a 10,000-foot peak and lean out over while the wind's blowing and you know it could blow you off? But you feel so alive at that moment? Imagine leaning out from the International Space Station and looking down 100+ miles to the surface of the Earth. Imagine what that's like. And our spirit, our soul is always hanging right out on the edge of eternity, part of eternity, with the intergalactic space wind at our back, literally blowing right through our soul. You can feel it. into eternity, into the gulf, into the black hole, into all the other things that God has created in his mind. Super heavy. And it's all there. And then you look at Obama and his red carpets and his stupid Air Force One and Warren Buffett and the Queen of England saying, please don't let me be the last Queen of Scotland. Oh, please don't vote. Don't you love me, your queen? How sickening. I mean, what a joke. A woman in a ceremonial headdress, a tribal headdress that we're supposed to fall down and worship. I'm about to puke. And look, I didn't mean to come here today and just wax philosophical. I do this sometimes, and I apologize for some that might not like it. I'm just keeping it real, and this is what I felt like talking about here. All of this got triggered by realizing our government publicly runs al-Qaeda. It's come out, they run them. They've changed the name to confuse the public. No one's getting in trouble for it. At least people morally are upset. That's something. That means we're going in the right direction at some level. There's hordes of black youth running around beating and killing white people all over the country for fun. The media is trying to cover it up. I'm not angry at a tribal level. I am disgusted at the ignorance, and I realize what a time bomb this nation is under the 100 million people on welfare, and just how such a great people have been laid so low. I mean, you look at photographs and videos of black people 60, 70 years ago, and they all got fire in their eyes. They're wearing suits and ties, and they might have been dirt poor, but let me tell you, they had their respect and their dignity. And you look at black folks now that are doing this, they have absolutely had their souls sucked out. And you go to a Walmart, and the white people look just like them as well. Except that the black folks now think it's okay to attack white people because they're all bad and they're racist, and, you know, we're getting back at them. So it's like another notch downward in the destruction of humanity. And again, the mind control that they're putting poison in all our water supplies. We're eating GMO. They're chemtrailing us. Who knows what the globalists are really up to? What we know is off the chart bad. We have so many opportunities and such a great future we could be enjoying. And MSNBC and the White House are promoting a climate where black youth go out at night to fairs or squares or Targets or wherever and want to beat up some stupid Walmart Martians. And you watch these videos, folks will walk up and punch some white person, and the white person just goes, and then just falls over and, I mean, they're dead. It's like because it's just, they're not even alive. These people that watch television all day, and then they go to Target, or they go to Walmart, or they go to Kroger, and they just shuffle around, and so there's no fight in them. I mean, quite frankly, I'm not looking for a fight, but somebody walks up and punches me in the face. I mean, you know, you just flipped a switch. I am going to, quite frankly, enjoy this. And it's not that I enjoy beating someone. I like the challenge. It flips a switch. I feel really alive. You just came up and kicked a bear in the butt. And you know what? You just better be ready to write the, you know, you wrote the check, or you ready to cash it? And I see now that the average person just wants to roll over and die. The average person just doesn't want to exist because they've been brought up from birth in front of the television. They don't exist. They're not people. The globalists have turned them into zombies who just have been deprogrammed to not even have any basic programming. Well, here's the deal. Me and mine don't want to die. I don't want to be shoveled into my grave. I got things to do. And so as soon as America finds its fighting spirit again and some dignity to not be pushed around by the system, some dignity to not be slaves. We're all slaves. We're all nailed to the wall. It's over for everybody. I'm going to go to Greg, Peter, Mike, Lance, Tom, and others. I know I'm preaching today, and I appreciate folks bearing with me. I always wonder why preachers always said, please bear with me. I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Even though people want to hear more, it's because it is kind of embarrassing to be up here pontificating hour after hour. But I'm just here bearing testimony to what's written on my heart and trying to be truthful with people here. Maybe I should just be truthful all the way and really tell people what I think. Really tell people what's going on in the world. I have told you what I think, but I can go further. The universe is so wild. We're going to go to break, come back with Greg.
Now you can watch The Alex Jones Show live as it happens at Infowars.com/show.
You'll find links to all of our content there and a free 15-day trial for Prison Planet TV.
More than 60 movies and documentaries all in one place at Infowars.com/show.
Gregson, James Gregson was the name of the psychiatrist. Stop. It's funny. See, my dad's like texting me, don't tell those stories. Stop it right now. What are you doing? Well, I mean, I went to them and they said, this is another quote. After they psychologically assessed me, because I'd literally beat up like 15 senior football players. Because, I mean, they were, but it's easy when you got like 4 or 5 guys trying to attack you at once. I mean, you biologically shift into a gear to really be able to stomp. And the guy, I'm not going to say what he said, because now that I'm telling the true story, it's too obnoxious. It's too ridiculous. All right, I'll go ahead and tell people, and I'm done talking about myself, but it's a true story. And I guess he was right, because look how successful we've been in the fight against tyranny and promoting anti-communism and you name it. He said in the assessment, he said, your son is immature, but what do you expect for a 14, 15-year-old? I think I was 15. I was 14. But he said, if he makes it, and if you keep him out of trouble, I think he'll end up being like John Wayne. That's a pretty smart psychiatrist. I'm not likening myself to John Wayne. He said I would end up being like John Wayne because he was reading all the police reports and the rest of it. And that's why I shouldn't get into these stories. It sounds ridiculous. And then all these years later, I just want my son to grow up in a free country. That's all I want. And again, I shouldn't tell these stories on air because they just sound ridiculous. But I did. And I got into my views on spiritual issues and a lot more. We got so many other things to deal with here, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go ahead and go to Greg in Mississippi. You're on the air. Welcome.
Alex.
Hey, buddy.
Hey. One thing I wanted to say was I appreciate the fact listening to somebody like you that loves God and hates religion and just tells it like it is. And the other thing I wanted to ask you about, and I'll listen offline for the answer, is the new intro virus that's going around.
Yes.
My wife made the point that all kids just got their school vaccination, and it's only affecting the children. So I was wondering if that could be related. And I'll listen out there. Thank you, sir.
Well, God bless you. Thanks for putting up with me. It's very humbling to have men calling in asking me questions. I think you answered the question yourself. Is it related? Could it be related? Of course. We know that a lot of outbreaks of like measles, mumps, and rubella and whooping cough in California the last few years was from vaccinated kids. And it was actually causing them to get sick. We know a lot of kids get paralyzed after the polio vaccine. I mean, that's. I just read the news. I mean, it's there. But then they'll get on the news and say, safe and effective, no problems. The insert says it can give you Guillain-Barré to the point of you quit breathing. What do you think Guillain-Barré is? It's the nerves basically shut off, just like polio. And you can get it from the MMR, from the flu shot, from the tetanus shot. Almost everyone I know has been deathly ill from a vaccine. A flu shot almost killed my mother when she was like 20 years ago on the triathlete team. I guess the UT triathlete senior, whatever you call it, team, Masters. And they told him, take the flu shot. So she went and got the flu shot and almost killed her. I mean, that's what's going on here, ladies and gentlemen. So, sir, you answered your own question. God bless you. I got a guest coming up, Lou Rockwell, and I got all these callers. I'm really bad. Mike, Louisiana, let's get your question started, and we'll come back to you in the next segment. Go ahead.
Yeah. Remind me never to get you mad.
I shouldn't have told the story. In fact, just so I made it all up. It's embarrassing. It's not true. Of course, that's actually a lie, but I don't know why I told the story. It sounds terrible. It sounds ridiculous. But I share all my other goofy stories. So it's okay. It's not like I was bragging. I've told all the silly stories about me walking around the office one time with a roll of toilet paper hanging out 5 feet.
Hi, I'm Dr. Edward Group. Today I'd like to talk about the war on women. You've experienced and heard about the benefits of Super Male Vitality. Now, the new formula has arrived. Introducing the new Super Female Vitality. I have specifically designed this formula to help the body naturally regulate itself without the use of artificial hormones. Key ingredients chosen from the highest quality sources. Each of these ingredients works synergistically with the female body in order to maximize overall vitality. You've heard the reviews and the feedback on how the original Super Male Vitality has revitalized relationships. Now, both the man and the woman can have the revitalization in their own bodies with Super Male Vitality and Super Female Vitality. Secure your Super Female Vitality today from our limited stock at InfoWarsLife.com.
Mike, Louisiana, go ahead, sir. Ask your question or make your statement.
Yes, sir. Yeah, you think it's hard at 40. Wait till you get to 67.
I hear you.
I'm looking at it's pulling the wagon around, the info wagon in New Orleans. I want to give you a little update of what's happening in my neighborhood, and then I'll end on a positive. I'll send you this article. It was in the local Gambit Weekly. There's a gang of blacks going around my neighborhood with clubs, beating the hell out of white guys, which I'm one. And here I am dragging your wagon through this neighborhood. So I'm having a lot of fun every day.
Really? Have you had somebody menace you?
Well, yeah, I've had it's a mixed neighborhood, so there are times when, there'll be I've had them say, I want to throw a hand grenade under that cart, and then the kids will run up behind it, and what I do is just turn the cart around and head at them, then they start running away because I've got...
Exactly, but if you were the average person, you'd get in the fetal position, literally, like a dog that rolls over to have its belly rubbed. I mean, I tell you, it's sick. It's sick how people lay down to everything.
To get the screens on it, so I'll be able to broadcast you out in the street. I just need a little more help.
Tell folks how they visit your site and how they find out more, because I want to get those video screens on that cart.
Oh yeah, thank you. Well, I mean, all it takes is money, Alex. You know how it works.
No, but tell folks you have a YouTube channel, don't you?
Well, I had it on the Indiegogo for a while, but that ran out. So I don't have anything up. I'm probably going to start another fundraiser here soon, but if they want to go to Koto Crew, which is COTO WordPress.wordpress, that's one of my sites.
I'll guarantee you we got somebody in New Orleans that wants to get my show on big TV screens with you bicycling it around, so somebody should get there and do that. Thanks for the call. Good to hear from you, Mike. Yeah, I've seen photos and video of what you're doing. It's pretty neat. People can find that on his website. There it is. It's pretty cool. Let's go to Peter in Washington. Thanks for holding. What do you think about arming the Al-Qaeda people? That's what you called in about, right?
Yeah, what I wanted to call about, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What I wanted to talk is that the correspondence between the British government, the early correspondence during and after WW1, and the Saudis has been published. I haven't read them, but I've read the summary. The summary doesn't show that there was any special arming of them beyond what was needed to fight the Turks, who were pretty tough. Now, if you think it's different, have somebody read the originals.
Say that again now. What are you specifically getting at about the Saudis versus the Turks?
Between the British government and the Saudis, the early part, during and after WW1, has been published. There's several volumes. Now, what I wanted to say is that I don't think, except for crooks and converts, that there was anything special there, anything that... and by the way, Tim Philby, the famous turncoat of the Cold War, his father was a scholar who was converted to Wahhabism. But he was no master spy. He was in need of money. His correspondence with his wife has been published in the Philatelic Journal.
You sound like you're are you a retired intelligence person yourself?
No, sir. I'm just a reader and reader and reader.
Yeah, you sound like a historian or something. Yeah, because a lot of the stuff, I have fragments of it, but I don't... what are you getting at? Are you saying that the British didn't really help create Saudi Arabia?
Or public.
Pardon me?
I've never been there. But what I wanted to say was, now, the main thing the Saudis did, as you know, was capture the kingdom that was in control of Mecca. Now, the British were not against the Hashemites that controlled Mecca.
More countries are hastening the acceleration away from the dollar. We're going to be talking some about that today. Also, there is another report out dealing with the fact that if the economy is supposedly recovering, why is the labor force participation rate at a 36-year low? They're cooking the numbers. Also, former New Orleans mayor sentenced to 10 years in prison, convicted on 20 counts, including bribery, conspiracy, and money laundering, all tied to payments he received for granting city contracts. Why are they busting mayors for low-level corruption and not the big kingpins of the Federal Reserve and the derivatives people? Because they don't want their low-level minions stealing any of the goodies. They want it all for themselves. And I'm not defending this criminal activity. It's just how many mayors and how many governors and you name it are just caught involved in corruption. It's just crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And then meanwhile, we have police all over the country under federal training doing the asset forfeiture seizure where they pull old ladies over and go, how much cash you got in there, $2,000? Well, I guarantee you there's drugs on that money because all new money, only thing that doesn't have drugs on it is new money. All money that's been in circulation has minute amounts of drugs on it because it gets mixed in with all the other money. And they say, we're going to test that and then take your car as well unless you give it to me. And then they just take the money. And it's mainly small departments that were doing it before because they would work with corrupt judges. Now major police forces, state police are doing it. And it's criminal, ladies and gentlemen. And it's just government devolving right down to the lowest common denominator. Alex Jones here to break down some exciting developments in the area of research concerning supplemental iodine. It's nothing less than phenomenal. I began to get into iodine a few years ago because it was helping me and my family so much get healthy and detoxify. And I used some of the mainline iodine supplements and they upset my stomach and I had some issues with it. Until I discovered a product being developed by Dr. Group, who I was already interviewing as an expert on my radio show, and I began taking the product before he actually rolled it out. You now know it as Survival Shield True Nascent Iodine that your body can really absorb. Then, about a year ago, he said, listen, if you think this is powerful, I'm going to come out with rare earth, deep earth crystals that are incredibly powerful that no one else has as a source for their iodine from between 7,000 and 12,000 feet, literally drilled out of the ground. You put it on a hot plate and it turns into the pure gas. No one else has 99.99% pure iodine. And the results that I personally have had have been life-changing. I was over 270 pounds. And with the iodine, exercise, and better diet, I have lost now more than 50 pounds total, and I'm continuing to lose the weight. I have more energy, my libido, all this crap came out of my skin. I believe our research is conclusive. This is the best iodine out there. And I know this for a fact. Nobody else has got iodine based on these pure crystals, ladies and gentlemen. This is innovating. This is trailblazing. And the best part is it helps fund Infowars.com, the radio show, the TV show, the whole media operation promoting true libertarian ideas. For a limited time, experience the ancient power of Survival Shield X2. Take advantage of this unprecedented 30% off Super Detox Special at InfoWarsLife.com.